Hello viewers, I am going to discuss about transformation, and this is affirmative to negative. This is affirmative to negative. Affirmative to negative. We know affirmative sentence begins with, if the sentence begins with only or alone, and then subject, verb, object. This is affirmative only if there is only alone in this sentence. We must know this is affirmative, and in lieu of affirmative we must use none but or nothing but. If the subject is person, then none but. If the subject of subject without person or no person, then nothing but. If the subject denotes person, then none but, and if the subject does not denote person, then nothing but. It will be animals or objects. So if the subject denotes person, then it will be none but. If animals or objects, then nothing but. So then subject will be here, and others will also the same, verb, object or others. These are the structure from affirmative to negative. Now we will see example. Only the boy can do the work. Only, here is only, and the boy is a person, so only, in lieu of only we must put here none but. So in lieu of only we must use none but, and the rest of this sentence we must write. None but the boy can do the work. You can set another example. Let's do another example. Only the moon is visible. We know moon is an object, so it is not the person. So only, in lieu of only we must use nothing but. Then the rest of the sentence, the moon is visible. And if we find here any in this sentence, if there is any of the word that denotes ace, so if we find ace, then in lieu of ace we must write not, more than. Number or ace, if we find, then we must write this option. Example, he is only 30. He is not more than 30. If there is must after the subject, if there is must after the subject, if there is must after the subject and then verb, object or others or extension, this is affirmative structure, and after subject, so in lieu of must we must use cannot, but, or cannot help, and there is subject, so the subject, then in lieu of must we must use cannot but or cannot help. Any one of these we can write, then verb, then object or others, This is the structure of negative if we find must in an affirmative sentence. In an affirmative sentence, then we must use in lieu of must cannot but or cannot help, or cannot help in lieu of must. And here is example, we must go there, and the negative is we must. In lieu of must we must write cannot but, we cannot but go there. But if we find subject plus had to, then verb plus object, then we must write subject plus could not but, or could not help, then verb plus object, or if help, then verb plus ing plus object. And here also, if help, if we use help, then verb takes ing. So this is the structure, affirmative to negative. And let's see example. They had to go to the meeting. They could not, but had to. In lieu of had to, we must use could not but go to the meeting. And similarly this one is also. So I repeat, if there is must and then verb, then object or others, in lieu of must we must use cannot but or cannot help. If cannot but, then verb is the same as base form, but if we use cannot help, then verb takes ing. Similarly, if there is had to in a sentence, then use had to. In lieu of had to, we must use this. And could not but or could not help. If we write could not but, verb will be the same as present form, and if we use could not help, then verb takes ing. Now let's say another structure. If the sentence begins with every plus every, begins with every, then noun, then verb, then object or others, then object or others extension. This is the structure of affirmative sentence. And if the sentence begins with every, so this is the affirmative, and in lieu of every we must use begins with, we must begin with there is no. There is no, then we must use the, after there is no we must use noun, the noun, and after the noun there must be a but, and after but the rest of the then word, verb, object or others, and then full stop. So this is the structure. Every, in lieu of every, we instead of every we use here there is no, and after the noun there is but. So this is the structure. And every, and now let's see example. Every mother loves her child. So here is every, so instead of every we must use there is no, mother, and after noun, mother is noun, so after noun there must be a but. So there is no mother but, and the rest of the word or verbs and object. So loves her child. Loves her child. There is no mother but loves her child. If the sentence begins with every and there is noun also, and then verb here verb has. If there is has after noun, then object or others, then object or others or complement. This is another affirmative sentence structure. If there is has as verb, use as verb, and before the has there is noun and every. So every, the structure is every plus noun plus has plus object. So in that case we must use there is no instead of every, and we must use the noun here after there is no noun here. So there is no and noun here, and instead of without we must use, instead of has we must use without, instead of has we must use without. This is the rule. So then object or others and full stop. This is the example. I repeat, if the sentence begins with every, then say structure is the every plus noun plus has plus object or others. Then instead of every we must use there is no, then there is no, after there is no, noun comes, and after noun the verb has will be changed into without. The verb will be changed into without, and the others of what is there. So example, every man has right. So every, there is no and man noun, so there is no man, and has will be changed into without. And the rest of the word works, the rest of the sentence. So every man has rights. There is no man. There is, instead of every will be, has been changed into there is no, and the man is here the noun, and instead of has we must use without. So every man has right, there is no man without right. If the sentence structure is like that, subject, then verb, then adjective or noun, and adjective or noun, and in that case we have discussed earlier that if there is noun, if in that case we must use subject, then according to tense, helping verb, we must use helping verb, and it is also negative, so not will be put here after the verb, after helping verb, then the main verb will come here. Then opposite adjective or noun comes here. So this is the structure of negative form if their sentence structure is that kind of. So in this position, so the boy is weak in English. So the negative form is the boy is not weak. The word weak, opposite word is strong in English.